Hello, I'm Neubecker, and I'm applying for the Director of Teaching and Learning, and I'd like to share my answers to the questions that you've asked me to address. So first of all, you've asked me to look at how I've leveraged my leadership outside of what I've shared on my resume. And so I think a perfect example of that is my work with the High Impact Leadership grant, and I've been working with them for the last 3 years, and I'm seeing tremendous growth. This work has grown myself and my teachers and my school in many ways, but it has been also worked to the extent that we had the best data in the entire district for the last 2 years on the NWEA in math, in reading. Math is also improving, but our focus has been laser focused on reading, and it's working. So the other piece of that is the PLC process has come along a long way during this time with the high impact leadership. And our PLCs are not only, they were non-existent when I started, but now they're functioning PLCs. And my PLC leads and their teams, of course, write SMART goals. They actually assess those SMART goals. They teach to those SMART goals. And as a result, we're growing all kids. We are moving our children with IEPs. We're moving the majority of, all of our populations are growing as readers. In fact, I also tipped the apple cart upside down with my intervention program. We had lifers in Title I, and that is not okay. That you shouldn't be constantly not making or not achieving to enough of a point where you can be removed from specific intervention. And I've had enough of that. And so we finally purchased a tool that addresses phonemic awareness. It's called Phonics. And we are now, my Title I team is intentionally teaching by skill and assessing by skill. And we've seen the best results we have in 10 years. And that's because as a leader, I said enough is enough. It's time to change this and do what's best for all kids. In addition to that, our PBIS team functions also as a PLC. We use behavior data to drive our instruction. We also, and then we teach those lessons school-wide, classroom-wide, and it's really reducing our behavior referrals. In terms of SEL, we have Second Step. All my teachers teach Second Step. They all use restorative practices, of course at different various levels. But again, this has been systematic, and it's been expected and inspected, and so it's working. The next question, what question I would have for the superintendent, and I would ask, how do you see the Director of Teaching and Learning having the biggest impact on your strategic plan? Also along that same line, I would ask what has been implemented already in terms of implicit bias training for your staff, and truly, how do you know if that's working? This has been a struggle for my district and many districts, and so I'd really like to know if it's working, and what more you would ask the Director of Teaching and Learning to do with that particular piece of your strategic plan. The next question is, describe your growth edges. Well, like all of us, I have many, but the biggest one that's been glaringly obvious with my Hill work has been my desire to fix it all. And I think that's something that many educators have, is we want to fix it all. Well, we absolutely can't. And what I've learned is that you have to be truly laser focused, you have to be intentional, and you have to keep driving toward a goal. If we try to bite off truly more than we can chew, then we're absolutely never going to achieve anything. It's the fastest way to fail. I learned that firsthand. And so my continued growth will need to have a cheerleader, will be to have a coach, my superintendent, my team, to remind me that we're staying the course for the district and we're staying the course together. And I would need coaching around that. That's something that I know I'm always gonna try to do more than I should, and it's not for the benefit of kids. It doesn't work. The next one was, how would you cultivate leadership among the building principals in the district? My go-to is instructional rounds and developing instructional rounds across the board. So if East Grand Rapids is already doing that, wonderful. I would love to look at what you're doing, learn from what you're doing, and then hopefully add my experiences to that work. If they're not already doing that, then I would talk to those principals and find out what your leadership teams are like, what the willingness is of your teachers to open their doors, to allow guests to come in and view their teaching. That's also a struggle. A lot of really amazing teachers have a closed door philosophy because what they're doing is working. I don't know if that's happening in East Grand Rapids, but I know this walkthrough process, this instructional, structured walkthrough, instructional rounds, allows us to look at our growth edges as a district, as a building, and as a district. And I would definitely create that system if it's not already there, and get that collaboration working among the buildings, rather than allowing us to become, we've used the term, the cliche silos or islands, and that's never productive to grow overall. The next question is, how would you cultivate, or how would you look at a critically important compliance area from the state? That is easy. That's my KIP. That's fairly new. It is the school improvement process. It's how schools, of course, get our funding. And you have, I love the My KIP process because it directly just uploads my school data right up into the system, so all of us can see how we compare to other schools, how we compare to the state. And of course, East Grand Rapids is above the state. But I did notice in looking at your data that you're pretty much on par with schools like you. I don't think it's okay to be on par. I think we definitely need to elevate that level. And my KIP, using that school improvement process like we need to, will allow us to do that. And this compliance piece when done well, can really do what we need it to do and grow our kids, grow all indicators, all of our kids. The minority areas as well, of course, children with IEPs, our ELL students. We've got this My KIP process will allow us to dig and go narrowly into those areas, write goals, specific goals to meet those areas, and it's a cycle. Old school improvement used to be write a generic goal, write a generic action plan, check the right boxes, ooh, school improvement. That's not school improvement. It's always really bothered me as an educator. The whole child concept from My KIP and the SEL component especially. It's not just about academics anymore. Are we growing the whole child? This will really help East Grand Rapids schools. So thank you so much for inviting me to join you in this process. I'm excited. Thank you.